Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about before we kind of jump into actually doing some Python is how to kind of set up these notebooks, and I'm going to specifically focus on some of the Markdown content. Okay, so let's start off with a plain notebook. I'm just going to work inside of VS Code here, but this would be the same if you were working from Jupyter Lab or working from Google Colab. Do a save as on my basics one here. I'm just going to dump it on my desktop. This will call it example. And book. Okay, cool. All right, so what I'll do to start off with is we'll just jump through here and delete a bunch of stuff. Just going to delete everything for now. So again, these are all my different cells that have code or markdown in them, and then the associated output. Okay, so here I have a blank document. So now you can see there's a couple different things you can add. So you have add code, add markdown. So first off, I'm going to do an add markdown. Okay, and then we'll do hashtag. So anyway, if I want to just write some plain text, we'll just do some text. So what Markdown allows you to do is the format text. So if I click over here on this check, that's just basically regular text, like a paragraph or something. But there are other types of text you can create, but you have to know what the syntax is. So I'm just going to show you some example syntax here. So if you use pound, that's used to create a header. So we'll just call this header 1, header 2, header 3, header 4. I think there's up to 6, I'm not sure, but let's do. And header 5, and I think there's 6 levels, we'll see. Header 6. Okay. So basically what adding the hashtags there or the pound sign, basically what that does is it creates a header. And the one hashtag is header level 1, 2 is header level 2, and as you can see, it just changes the size. So anyway, headers are used for our hashtags. So that's that. So let's create another cell. And here let's do some bold. So to bold something, generally the best way to do it is 2 asterisks, and then we'll just call this bold text, and then close it with 2 asterisks, and then you can see that makes a bold text. I'm going to add another markdown cell here, and we'll do italicized text is just 1 asterisk, so italicized text. By the way, you might see that I'm getting some like spell check highlighting there. I have a spell checker installed. That's another extension you can install. So anyway, that's italicized text, 1 asterisk. Let's look at like a list object. So I'm going to do, again, here we'll add in markdown. So we'll do 1 dot item 1, 2 dot item 2, 3 dot item 3. And that basically is the syntax for an ordered list. Doing an unordered list, you would just do, generally a dash works. So, actually wanted to do that down further. Let me see. So we'll do dash item 1, dash item 2, dash item 3. And there we have an unordered list. Links is another good thing to know. So to do a link, you basically just put the text inside of a bracket. So you would do, this is a link, and then provide a link. So I can do .westvirginiaview.org. So now if I click on this, Oh, it will let me open that. Oh, it won't let me because I'm not out of I'm not in on a website. But anyway, that's how you would do a link. You can see that there. There are other things. So, for example, doing like a table or a footnote or something. But these are the main ones. I'll just show you a few others that are useful. If you don't know what the codes are, you can just look it up. Also, in my examples, let me open back up the. So if you click on this, you can see how I did formatting, which that can help just to see how someone else did syntax. So if you double click on the cell, it will revert it back into the plain text, and then if you save it, it'll show you how it gets rendered. Cool. Okay, so let me show you a few other examples. Here we go. So let's do superscripts and subscripts, just as another example. So let's do like. How about CO2? All right, so if we wanted to convert that into a subscript, you would just do the tilde. I believe it's before and after. Yep. And that did not do it. That didn't work. Another way you can do it is with, I believe it's #sub oops, see if that works. There we go, that worked. So here I just used a sub tag and then a closing sub tag, and as you probably imagined, we had another one of these. Let's do H2O this time. So if you did, and this is actually that's not gonna make sense because that's okay. If you do soup instead of sub, that'll do a superscript, which obviously isn't what we wanted in that case, but that's just showing you how to do it. Anyway, so you can make some pretty clean documents with headers, plain text, bold, italics, lists. And then again, to create a code block, you just, instead of having it be the markdown type, you would be code type, and then you can type code. The default here is that it's Python, but you can actually do other types of code too. So if you click over here, you can see all the different types of code blocks that you can include. But we're not really going to deal with anything other than Python here. So we did x equals 2, and then we'll do, again, print x. Oh, I have to go back in here to my... Oops, what did I do? There we go. There we go. And then you can see you get the output there printed. So, yeah, anyway, so whatever, you're actually getting the results printed right underneath of the code there. Okay, so I actually feel like that should cover it. So just to review, basically I showed you how to set up a Python environment using Anaconda, so mainly at the command line, and then how we can install stuff into it, how you can copy like the packages from one environment to another using the YAML file, basically to clone it. We looked at a couple different environments where you can actually execute notebooks that allow you to execute code as a bunch of chunks that we know of other types of chunks or blocks for things like markdown text. So again, we looked at doing this using Jupyter Lab, which is probably the most common tool people use, or using Google Colab if you don't want to go through the process of installing something on your own machine. And then lastly, I looked at using VS Code where you're not working in a web browser, but using a tool right on as a piece of software. Anyway, so this should be enough background for you to get started, to set up an environment, and then to work through the assignments and to work through the module examples.